TDS has 15 event towers, all obtained from events over the years of the game's release. In this video, I'll be ranking them all from S tier all the way down to F. I'll be ranking them based on their usefulness, cost efficiency, and my opinion. Before that though, consider subscribing and let's get right into it. Starting off, we have the most recently added tower, Firework Technician. Oh god. This tower is very unique, with it being the only event tower that's fully support. Kinda. It gives towers a chance to shoot fireworks at enemies, with these fireworks dealing explosive damage on impact. They also deal some fire damage over time for some extra damage. Not only that, it also gives towers in range all detections for a few seconds each wave. This tower does however only have a placement limit of 1, making it limited in potential. It does however have some great cost efficiency, considering it can rack up tons of damage over time. Overall a great tower, but it's hard to justify using it over other options such as DJ. I'm giving it A tier, but like top of A tier, it's pretty good. Next up we have the most recently reworked tower, Sledger. Obtained from winning the 2021 Frost Invasion event, this tower uses a massive sledgehammer that he slams down on enemies to freeze them in their tracks. It honestly used to be one of the worst event towers, but since its recent rework, it's actually surprisingly good. It can hit between 3 to 7 enemies each swing, making it great for crowd control. It does however only have lead detection, making it vulnerable to hidden and flying enemies. Now, it is made a bit worse with its placement limit of 6, not that you'd really need more than that though. Surprisingly decent cost efficiency, this is a good all-around tower. I'm giving it A tier. Ice is nice. Next we have Elementalist from the 2024 Operation Ice event. This tower has 2 modes. Fire mode that makes it shoot fire rounds that burn enemies, as well as having a heatwave ability that damages all enemies in its surrounding, making it quite crowd control oriented. The other mode is Ice. It shoots ice rounds that slow down enemies, as well as having an ice turret ability that shoots slowing rounds. This tower is pretty solid with it having hidden and lead detection, making it quite versatile. It also only has a placement limit of 5. This tower is a great all-arounder, but it does not really excel in anything. I'm giving it B tier. Next up we have Snowballer from the same event. This tower, with no exaggeration, sucks so bad. It's a single target tower that yeets snowballs that slow enemies. Whoa, just feels like it's barely doing anything compared to any other freezing tower in the whole game. On top of that, it does not even have hidden detection. Sure, it has no placement limit, but I think that just speaks for how bad it is. You know what, I'd rather just equip no tower than equipping Snowballer just to make sure I don't accidentally place one of them. I'm giving it D tier. Following that, we have Commando. It has 2 burst laser pistols that actually have ammo that can run out. This makes the Commando a bit more inconsistent, as it does need a bit of time to reload its guns. It's able to pierce enemies, with it being able to damage up to 3 enemies at once, which is a solid bonus. Now more importantly, it also gets missiles once it gets upgraded to level 3. Oh hey, I didn't see you over there. I'm boss 1. These missiles not only deal splash damage, they make enemies stunned for up to 2 seconds, making for a good mix of damage and support. Besides the missiles, it does not have any detections. Okay, no, Commando actually just got rebalanced. It has hidden detection now. That's nice. Oh, and the placement limit of 8 does not really help all that much. Overall, it's a decent tower, however, it does not really stand out. Maybe if you place it where it can pierce multiple enemies, it can be surprisingly good, but I'll have to give it B tier. Next up, we have Necromancer. Do you hate yourself? Yes? Necromancer is perfect for you. It has a signature ability to make skeletons spawn from graves to fight for you. Sounds cool, right? Not only that, its graves even deal explosive damage, so you need great timing to use it perfectly. That sounds fun. Now imagine clicking the summon ability every 15 seconds of the game to actually utilize the tower to its best potential. Nah, I'd rather die. Oh wait. Well, at least you can place a lot of them, right? Right? This tower does however have every detection in the game, making it just a really versatile tower all around. This tower has really great stats, but is honestly just a chore to use on every game. Admittedly, it's still a really strong tower, so I'm giving it A tier. TDS, please make an auto spawner toggle, please. Next up, we have Harvester, obtained from the 2024 Hexcape event. This tower shoots bolts from its crossbow that are able to pierce up to 5 enemies at once. Now, the actual good part of this tower has to come from its ability, Thorns. On a selected area, it'll grow thorns able to damage multiple enemies at once, as well as slow zombies down by 15 to 30%. Not only that, nearby farms to the path as well as Harvester will also grow thorns with half the stats, making for some great tower synergy between the two.
So, what do you do on weekends?
Thorns deal 4 DPS on level 0 and up to 60 DPS on level 5. As for its own stats, its single target damage is pretty mid, with it only having 5 DPS at level 0 and up to 60 DPS on level 5, which might not sound all that bad, but it costs 37,550 cash to max. Not only that, it only has flying detection, which does not really make it very versatile, as well as a sad placement limit of only 4. This tower has admittedly grown on me, but nah, it's going B tier. Next up we have Hallow Punk from the same event. This tower has a rocket launcher and is the only event tower with only 3 levels. It's a pretty early game tower with a placement cost of only 300 cash and upgrades only costing up to 5,000 cash, making it pretty easy to max out. Surprisingly, it has lead and hidden detection, making it pretty versatile. Not only that, it knocks back enemies on the track, Electro Brawler, as well as dealing fire damage over time, making it surprisingly not that bad as a support tower. Now what I really like is how they added a placement limit of 12 just to stop the absolute maniacs that actually want to place more than that. It's decent, but I would not use this unless I was new to the game with barely any towers. I'm giving it C tier, but like if you're new, I'd have probably ranked this higher. Following that we have Sledger, formerly called Shredder. This tower was obtainable from beating the 2019 Halloween event. It's a short range tower that, well, slashes enemies. I'm amazing, I know. It's a single target tower that deals 2.5x damage every third swing, with it increasing all the way to 4x at max. Now the main thing that makes Sledger unique is its bleed debuff it applies on enemies. Now what makes it different is that the damage that bleed deals is based on the max health of the enemies, with it being able to stack the debuff up to 30 times for some crazy damage. Now the problem is the bleed effect is really not that strong, so it really makes the whole tower feel kinda underwhelming as a whole. It does however have hidden detection from level 1 though, so that's a solid perk. It has a decent placement limit of 12 too, not that you'd need that many, but hey, nice to have, right? Very cool. I'm gonna have to give it B tier though. Next we have Jester. This tower has it all, from fire, ice, acid to even confusion bombs. This is a jack of all trades support tower. It was undoubtedly the best support tower and arguably even the best tower in all of TDS history, with it even being able to stop hardcore modes Void Reaver extremely effectively and just being a must have on every game. Until... Although its upgrades are still really cheap and cost effective, kinda. Jester's just not made a comeback, and with that, I'm giving it B tier. Next we have Cryomancer. Cryomancer is just a chill guy, you know? This tower is just goated in a lot of ways. It has an ice spray thingy that slows enemies down, and with enough of them you can fully free zombies in their tracks. You can place them really early for just 300 cash, so they're really cost effective, which is just insane for a support tower. Now its damage sucks, with it only starting to deal damage from level 3, but that's exactly what you want from a support tower. Support, not damage, so it just works out perfectly. It can damage lead enemies, however it can also indirectly hit hidden enemies, because it's just a chill guy. Overall, just an amazing tower that can combo really well with towers like Golden Pyromancers, since you can combine fire and ice. Amazing tower overall, that's a bit underrated I feel. I'm giving it S tier. Next we have Toxicgunner. This tower is dripped out, like how can you not say that's a great tower? Now although this tower looks cool, I'm not gonna lie, it's low-key mid. It has a minigun that shoots toxic rounds that debuff zombies which can slow and damage enemies a ton, but one problem. The poison damage does not stack, so getting multiple might help slow enemies down, but it won't increase your damage all that much. Overall it's really not that bad, but I'm going to have to put it in B tier. Following that we have Elf Camp. This tower is super fun with it spawning hordes of elves across the map. You want one and W keys the path of a sword, boom, there you got one. This tower has an elf for all players and is really cost efficient too. The only drawback is that you can only place 2 elf camps, so it's not exactly great, but it's still a really fun tower overall. Its gunner elves have hidden detection, with the bomber elves also dealing splash damage, making for some great utility. The upgrades are also really cost efficient, especially if you use this on long maps where spawner towers are at their strongest. Personally, probably my favorite tower to use out of all of the event towers, but either way, I have to give it a respectable B tier. Next up we have Executioner. This tower just kinda exists, you know, it's nothing special besides it having one cool gimmick, making an axe go spinny mode. Again, nothing special, it honestly kind of reminds me of myself. B tier. Next up we have Frostblaster. So basically, guys, we need a new tower for the event. Any ideas? Imagine if we take Archer and make it 3 zombies. Great idea. Wait, I was just... Yeah, so you get the idea. Frostblaster basically shoots an ice shot that pierces through enemies, freezing them all in place. This tower is extremely good with it stopping hordes in their tracks, and dealing surprisingly decent damage too with it piercing through enemies like the archer. It even has the nice bonus of it sounding really satisfying. I know it's really not that important, but like, yeah. It also comes with early lead and flying detection, so it's super versatile. Sadly, it is an event tower, so some people won't get to experience the satisfaction of using it, but overall a great tower. I'm giving it A tier. Following that, we have Archer, obtained from beating the 2019 winter event. This tower shoots arrows with its bow that pierce through up to 7 enemies at once when maxed. Now, this tower used to be super cheap and literally the most overpowered tower way back in 2019 when it was still named Holiday Archer. However, with it getting massive nerfs soon after, this tower literally fell off so hard they took half his name away. Pretty decent in the early game, but after that it just feels like it's barely doing any damage in the later waves. I'm giving it C tier. Next, we have Swarmer, obtained from the 2020 spring event. Now, Swarmer is interesting. I don't have this tower, but based on feedback, it's trash. It basically throws honeys at an enemy, making bees attack them over time. It also has a crowd control ability to throw a grenade that puts the stinging effect on all enemies in the explosion. Now, it really sucks, as not only is the ability apparently very buggy, the sting effect can stack, so the damage is very bad. It has literally no enemy detections too, which just really does not help, and its upgrades are really not that cost efficient either. Now, as for what tier to put it, well, I think it deserves its own spot. Finally, we have Gladiator, the most OG tower in all of TDS, with it being obtained way back in 2019 from winning the first ever TDS event, the Heights. This tower slashes enemies with its sword, with it being able to damage up to 3 enemies at once. Now, ever since Brawler came out, this tower has went from being undoubtedly S tier to just being there. It being able to hit 3 enemies at once makes it really good for hordes, however it used to be able to hit an infinite amount of enemies before it got nerfed, so it's not as great in the late game as it once was. It does however get hidden detection early on, making it a fairly reliable tower. Ever since the Fallen rework, Gladiator's just not felt that effective, with it just really being overshadowed by Brawler. I'll have to place it in B tier. And yeah, that's my list. Subscribe so I can sleep. Thanks. Bye.